Hey folks, AWR Hawkins, Breitbart News with Rep. Andy Biggs. Hey. Sir, good to be with you again.
Good to be with you, AWR.
Hey, we shot together. I know you're a good shot. I've watched you shoot the AR, I've watched you shoot the SIG handguns, and now I hear that when you skeet shoot, you're pretty nasty with that shotgun. What'd you say? 10 out of 12?
Something like that.
Something like that?
Yeah, but I mean, I nailed the first 8.
Right.
And you know, the deal is I hadn't done any shooting like that. I can't remember doing any shooting like that, and it was good. It was fun.
Well, look, I know you are so staunchly Second Amendment. So with that being said, what's on the minds of gun owners right now is the ATF push.
Right.
They're going around you guys. They're just going to go right around Congress, and with regulatory action, they're going to put a ban in place for pistols that have a stabilizing brace.
Right, that's right.
I mean, the frustration is real on my end and on gun owners' ends. People are frustrated. What do you say, Rep. Biggs?
Well, it's overt. It's intended to circumvent the Second Amendment. It's intended to go ahead and start taking guns away. And to gain control. We know all of that. Our biggest problem is our number one piece of leverage is the budget. And the Senate's about to give away that leverage by passing this omnibus bill that's going to spend the money till all the way out to next October. And then once that happens, guess what? Then you move into a presidential election and Congress won't do much. If we could get people to let their senators know to vote against it, that would be important in AWR. Why? Because then we could actually attack ATF with the budget.
Right.
We could leverage that. So we can do it with oversight hearings, but all that'll do is we'll just expose them for the tyrants that they are.
Right.
But if we can have control and gain access to the budget, we can leverage it and say, guess what? There's no funding to do that very project.
Right. I'll tell you what, that is really the avenue you'd have to use. You have to have, as you're saying, the funds to take them away.
Right.
So if they go ahead and do all that, there you are. You don't have that ability.
Right. And so we're left with bringing them in. We're left with threatening them. We're left with passing legislation in the House that they'll never pass in the Senate in the coming session because the Senate's controlled by the Dems. This is really how you get this feeling that elections have consequences, and these are bad consequences for the American shooter.
Right. Well, tell me this, apart from the ATF issue and your funding issue that you're talking about, I understand how important that is, and that goes beyond just this ATF issue. It takes away power in many ways.
Right.
But beyond all that, when we think about guns in general, now that Republicans will control the House, I know we can't just sit back and do nothing, but do you believe that you can keep that Second Amendment safe for a little while?
Well, the good news about having us there is that provided that all the Republicans hang on and stay together on this issue, what we can do is we can push back against the Democrats they'll continue to run their gun grabbing legislation. We can stop that, and we can prevent that from going anywhere. The biggest problem that we're going to face is the executive branch going to do what ATF's doing? They're just going to go around the Congress and say, well, we don't really care. We're going to do what we want. That means you got to litigate it in the courts. That takes time and money. And that means Congress also we're dealt out of the picture.
Right. And
that gets back to the whole thing. We got to win this thing in the Senate. And I'm afraid that ship may have sailed with Mitch McConnell and company because, they're talking about giving in already.
Right.
And if that happens, we're going to be pushing just to hold things status quo.
Right.
And then pray that we can win it back in 24 so we can push back and get to where a constitutional republic like America is supposed to be that has the Second Amendment.
Right.
And then push back on all the bad bills that they've managed to get through and the executive actions they've been able to do.